So here are the major plot points of a feature script employing 3-act structure, and outlining begins with these. Your process of outlining will be so much easier if you start by identifying these plot points and then move to address and fill in the gaps that fall between them. Whether you are trying to foster greater comedy or create tension, the unexpected is always a positive addition to your individual scenes. The caveat there is that you need to make sure whatever unexpected surprises you introduce are either settled and/or resolved immediately, or otherwise help move the plot forward, in which case they can be resolved later on. How many times have you walked out of a theater and felt like one of the supporting characters was the most interesting part of the film? Utilize that freedom that comes with supporting roles and pick one to make really special. If you have an idea for a movie, then you almost assuredly have 2 of your major plot points already: the inciting incident and the first act break. Now obviously you need to determine the actual content of the scenes, but from a plot perspective, you know what sets up the drama and you know what the core conflict is. Presumably you also know who your protagonist is as well. The inclusion of subtext in your work is a critical step towards becoming a professional writer. Action can often speak louder than words. One of the benefits of the film medium is the ability for actors to demonstrate subtext and true intent via actions that go well beyond dialogue. You could describe the layout of the desks or furniture, the pictures hanging up, and the color of the walls, but doesn't this one line tell you everything you actually need to know? Certainly sometimes there are exceptions. If the church is not a traditional one but rather a makeshift spot in a mini-mall, then tell me what makes it different, while still adhering to the idea of less is more. I'm not just talking about the antagonist's motive for creating the core conflict, though that is certainly an important part of this. I'm also talking about the protagonist's motives for engaging the core conflict, as well as every other conflict, both large and small in the story. Why is just as important as what and how. You can't leave it out if you want the reader to care about your story, because more often than not, the why is what makes it interesting. Most stories are inherently predictable because most stories have a happy ending. The good guys win, romance blossoms, killers are caught, and so on. You could decide that as a true artist you can't live with that sort of commercial conformity, but let's be honest, you really can, especially if you take the time to be creative, demonstrate that artistry, and reach those predictable conclusions in unique, distinctive, and original ways. That's your challenge. How can James Bond win in a way that's never been seen before? If you sit at your computer and read the script, it will not be possible for you to avoid stopping to make minor changes as you go. Missing words, spelling errors, punctuation, dialogue changes, and so forth. You will see the missing from a sentence, and you absolutely will not be able to stop yourself from fixing it. By necessity, gatekeepers are required to separate the weak from the strong. They must weed out the work that doesn't have a chance, the work that lacks everything from a strong concept to requisite writing skill, strong characters, solid dialogue, and so forth. This exercise is called a passionate defense, and it is meant to aid in the development of your antagonist, helping to provide layers of depth and backstory that humanizes them and ideally adds to their being the worthy opponent every script should have. To do this exercise, I'm sorry, but I have to make you a lawyer, at least for a short time, so congratulations. Now, defend your client.